And so walking before God in some sense means that Abraham, we could say, is taking the lead. He's the person that's going out there into the unknown. God says, well, great things are going to happen, but he's a little short on details, that's for sure. So the weight is still on Abraham, and that's a good thing because that ennobles Abraham, right? That's the other thing that's so cool, is that if God had just laid out the whole story and brushed the branches from Abraham's path while he was walking forward, well, then there'd be nothing for Abraham to do. There'd be no nobility in his own pursuit. And this is another thing that we don't understand very well. It's a really tough thing to understand, is like, how much trouble would you want there not to be? It's a weird question, right? Because you want to have something to contend with. You want to have something that forces from you the best that you have. And so you have to have real problems. It's something like that. Would you dispense with all your you could just lay down on a bed and have pablum infused into your mouth, if all your problems were solved. And so maybe you want difficult problems that you can solve, something like that, because there's some, I don't know what it is about it. There's the overcoming and the growth that comes along with that. There's something about the nobility of the enterprise. You certainly see that when you go about having children, for example, which is, the psychological literature is quite clear. If you do moment-to-moment comparisons of people who have kids and people who don't have kids, the people who don't have kids are happier. And so psychologists who tend to get things wrong even when they make intelligent discoveries like that one, immediately, some of them, jump to the conclusion that because happiness is the goal, that, well, there's something about children that, make you unhappy, and that's not good. It's like, well, wait a second, maybe that's the wrong metric. It's like, of course you're less happy once you have children because you have to worry about them. My neighbor down the street, who's a very smart woman, said to me once, you can only be as happy as your unhappiest child. And which I thought was really good, that's really smart. But then it isn't, well, if having children doesn't make you happy, the answer isn't don't have children. It's like, don't be so stupid about being happy. That's the answer. It's because there's a nobility in the pursuit, right? And of course now you're responsible. You have a new baby, you think, especially if you're a new parent, you think, what the hell is this? And what am I going to do with it? It's like, and then you're done for the rest of your life. You never sleep properly again because you're going to be worried about this creature that you have to take care of. But like, what the hell good are you if you're not doing that, or something else equally difficult? Because you just haven't been called out yet, unless you take on a responsibility like that. The idea that life is, that happiness is the purpose of life. It's like, great for happiness, man. If it comes along, you should be thrilled that it's visiting you. But the notion that that's what you should pursue, that's the weakest possible notion. First of all, as soon as something terrible happens to you, you're done. It's like, life is to be happy. It's like, well, now you have cancer. So how's that? How's the happiness thing working out for you now? Or maybe it's not you, maybe it's your father that has Alzheimer's disease or some damn thing. And, it's like, it's a rare person that doesn't have some catastrophe one person away from them. It's like, life is to be happy. That's not right. And we can at least derive that from these stories. That isn't what they say at all. God's perfectly happy in the stories to grant the people with whom he forms a covenant happiness and prosperity, but there's never a word that that's the purpose. The rule is, aim high and get your bloody act together. That's the rule. And establish this contractual covenant with the ultimate ideal, and that will see you through the catastrophes. And that's a much more mature way of looking at life, as far as I'm concerned, because all you have to do is have your eyes half open and you see that the fundamental reality of life is tragedy and suffering. That's inescapable. That doesn't mean that it makes life unbearable, or that it makes being something that shouldn't have existed. Right? That isn't what it means, but it means that you have to contend with it and you have to get ready. And the willingness to adopt responsibility for yourself and for others is the precondition for that. And then maybe if you do that properly, then now and then you get some happiness. You can sit at the end of a day and you have half an hour where your conscience is clear and there's nothing that you need to be doing, and you can relax and think, that's all right, things are okay, and thank God for that. And that's maybe where you get your happiness. So, yeah, that's something. That's growing up, man, obviously. And to not know that, and to not be taught that. Like, everyone should be taught that. It's so obvious. We should be taught that. Well, and that's partly what these biblical stories do. And I'll make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face. Yeah. And God talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. God says this a lot to Abram, right? It's almost like he has to remind him now and then. And it's not surprising because he keeps going through these unbelievable adventures, that are really psychologically and socially shattering. So it's a good thing that this reminder pops up fairly frequently. But of course, Abraham is also open to it. And I think, what does it mean? I'll talk personally for a moment, I guess. So I've asked myself a lot of questions in the last 8 months, man. I can tell you that. And I'm still asking myself a lot of questions. And I've been conferring with a lot of people, because I had lots of people who were helping me negotiate whatever the hell this is that's happening. And, I could ask them how I was doing, and they would tell me a bunch of things I was doing wrong and some things I was doing right, and I could listen to them. And I was asking questions all the time about how the hell I should manage this properly. And, what I was trying to do, and what seemed to serve me properly, was to figure out how to do it correctly. That was the issue. It's like, I didn't really care what happened, and I guess I really don't care what happens, but I do care if I do it correctly, because I don't want to screw it up. I don't want to screw things up. And that seems to be a reasonable goal for people. I mean, wouldn't you like that as a goal, that you don't screw things up? Because you can't control your life isn't fully under your control by any stretch of the imagination, but it might be nice to not have your conscience eating at you saying, look, you had a big opportunity there, and you mucked it up because you're weak and blind, and you didn't listen. That's no good. The catastrophe is bad enough, as I said, without you being the bloody source of it. And so, well, that's Abram falling on his face, I guess, and also communing with God. It's like, he wants to get it right. He wants to get it right. And there's these things that beckon and promise, but it's bloody easy to make a catastrophic mistake. And you'll do that in your life, And maybe humility is one of the things that can prevent that, because you can look and you can think, okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? What can I do better? How can I do this properly? And then maybe, you get the intimation of the proper way to move forward. And maybe that's what protects you when things are chaotic and in strife. And who knows what that's worth?